Oh man, that's so unfortunate. I did a quick introduction and read through, and fortunately my mic was off. So this will be round two. Hopefully, I still capture the same essence. Dang it! I like that intro too. I'm going to leave an untranslated version for so you can see what it looks like Chinese. I don't like this background, so we'll work with this, and then we'll go back to that other background. So I initially said that there's going to be some weird continuity breaks between chapter 26 and 27, just because I'm recording this at a different time than I did chapter 26. So some of the things that I mentioned before may be repeated, or just I may forget to continue on. But I will give a quick intro and background on to which various chapters we are, because I'm not 100% sure what I said or didn't say. So I'll just give a quick background. Um, Chapters 1 through 10 were some of the main characters reacquainting with the world. So you get some various world building, you get some various relationships getting built. Chapters 10 through 20, you see a lot of the love relationships being built as well. His previous lover and whatnot. Chapters 20 through 30 recently have really been focusing has is a mix of both the main characters relationships as well as his own personal motivations, right, as you've seen in like chapter 25 and 26. And then recently you just saw some of his personal motivations, so we'll see some more of that as well in the future. But the introduction really expands upon that. So this is really a lot of setup, and it's all very interesting. I think it's very novel. It's very unique to set the character in such a way, and for even for this appropriately length of a novel, that just means the future chapters are just going to be even better. Some of the future chapters, 28 through 32, are some of the company building. So just various business relationships, filling in plot holes and gaps and whatnot. And then around chapter 31, you're going to also get some family relationships being built, and those are some awesome chapters as well that I will be covering. I will be skipping over because I don't want to read the whole thing for various reasons, and just because only there are quotes in certain chapters that just really interest me. So whenever I get to a certain quote or a certain portion that for whatever reason that I chose that chapter, most of these I choose most of these chapters because there's a certain portion I want to read. I could go on and on about a certain portion of the chapter. I spend like I think maybe 10 minutes per for like one paragraph. Um, but I'm experimenting with a more casual style, hence this style of video, um, because I realized making your own video from scratch with just audio is super tiring. So yeah, so let's get into this. So this is chapter 27. 一个人的孤军奋战, right? That's the Chinese title. And if you translate it, I'll show you really quickly the translation from Google. It obviously clicks it out. I'll go back to the main one. But if you use Google Translate, it'll translate to a man's lonely fight, right? 一个人 is a person, a man, and then 孤军 is just like 奋战 is, fight. Yeah, so my Chinese level is not at the most proficient level, but it's okay. And then I really quickly describe the background. Some backgrounds are more intrusive than others, so I tried. I don't necessarily choose ones that are like super bright, but I just like ones that are not that thing. And most people's eyes are focused here anyway. But for those who are interested, 谁是受福? I'm not 100% sure on this character, but I know this character is Fu, the richest man. 开始游戏, so that's to start the game. I'm pretty sure this just means bank, and that's bank. And then this is 人生. I don't recognize this word. This is probably 北, and then this is probably 系. And just the way the character is being written this thing, and I can't read this. This is a little bit too complicated for me. But yeah, so that's the background. That's me rambling. Give me one quick second, and I'll start reading chapter 27. Okay, so let's begin. Um, Here we go. In the bright, clean building, Lu Yan brushed and signed his name, which was then electronically signed and entered into the file. Although paperless office has been widely used nowadays, electronic signature is still an effective verification tool, especially when you write it out by hand and then be verified and recognized by a computer. The official seal, company certificate, and several files and declarations were signed by Lu Yan one by one. Although there are not many people here, 18-year-olds like him are still very rare, especially when some people recognize him. It's after the city's top pick that has often appeared on TV recently for school competition. So is it to quickly use your reputation to cash out? Many people can't help but think like this. But Lu Yan thought nothing of putting it all away and putting it in a school bag, although he planned to open a leather bag company. But now he couldn't bear to buy a leather bag, so he can only make up the number of school bags. Yeah, interesting comments. So the name of the company is Tomorrow Digital Technology Co. Ltd. Company Limited. Under the jurisdiction of the studio of tomorrow. Sorry, I like to click on comments when it accumulates to a certain amount. Generally more than 3 is interesting. Development, production, and distribution of professional games. Register and applied for the trademark. Tomorrow is not here. Man, I love that. That's a funny comment. President and chairman of the board. Also chairman. The road is far, probably. Lu Yan looked at his company documents one by one, and the most shabby one was the registered capital of 100,000 yuan. Of course, in fact, the minimum registered capital of the company is 300,000, and Lu Yan is not considered to be stuck in the line. But the good news is that the number registered capital of 100,000 is not a margin. So Lu Yan can embezzle the registered capital to maintain the company's operation. At least it works in theory, because Lu Yan does not need anyone to pay. However, in this case, you are now a legal entity, which means you are protected by the law for the time being. Although there are certain things that Lu Yan will do next, it should not be protected by the law, but that is enough. He raised his head, glanced at the sky outside the window, and walked to the elevator. The company registered with Lu Yan did not tell anyone, because the next more important thing is the production of the game. The good news is that Lu Yan's unremitting overtime work and finally determined a more cutting game engine as a development tool. The work of pros gradually come to an end. It's even said that because Lu Yan is more and more effective in training the Transportation Committee, even many dialogues can automatically be generated by the Transportation Committee. And there's really no such advanced dialogue that a grandmother kicks your front teeth, so basically AI. Kicking the old granny, old and you dan. A Neverwinter Night. Huh, interesting. But even so, Lu Yan did not relax at all. Now he is a true solo fighter. Since the development of Tomorrow is Not Coming is really closed, only Zhao Junli has mentioned a little bit, because Zhao Junli is a potential investor. Besides that, he didn't even mention Lu Mu, probably his father. After all, if it is stated clearly, there are a lot of things that cannot be explained. For example, how did you make a game with a broken computer? How did the program come from? How much copy did you write? Where's the artist you hired? In fact, Lu Yan's headache is this place. This is a huge hidden danger. Even Lu Yan's a little skeptical that he really made the game in the end. After watching the game, the overwhelming thank you subtitles are all from himself and the Transportation Committee. The name that is really horrible. Acknowledgement, blah, 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 blah. That's hilarious. Of course, the solution is to let the Transportation Committee automatically generate a name and pretend there's a team of hundreds of people behind it to serve itself. This is a relatively simple but straightforward solution, but Lu Yan actually has a better solution in mind. But so far, in Lu's mother's eyes, except for a few occasions when Lu Yan goes out to do errands, he spends the rest of his time in his room. In fact, it is more like writing an online novel. Huh. Although Lu Yan is responsible for... I can talk about this. I really do want to talk about it, but I also don't want to ruin the rhythm of the audiobook or reading the web novel. But yeah, I just will quickly mention a lot of stuff gets done by college students being locked in a dorm room. Although I only know of 2 good examples, which is Newton and Einstein. Newton creating calculus, Principia Mathematica, and Einstein in his patent office writing 4 influential papers and becoming the giant of science that he is today. And then plenty of other work is done by very smart people as well, but I don't think they were locked in the room. Um, I'm pretty sure Niels Bohr and his atom was done in a laboratory. Anyway, let's continue on. Although Lu Yue is responsible for most of the copywriting and plot design, it is no different from writing a novel. Not to mention that Lu Yue has just won the city's champion and also won a large scholarship. Lu's mother can be regarded as relieved of this son. So there's no right to use the scholarship. After all, in the days to come, my family will depend on my son. So what they mean by that is, use his scholarship money privately. They keep the money for him. That's called good parenting. Because some Chinese parents feel like everything that their kids do is half of it is their achievement, and then there are others that are much more free. Of course, Lu's mother didn't know that Lu Yan actually repaid half of the scholarship as his father's debt. Of course, Lu Yan didn't dare to tell his mother about this. However, Lu's mother has repeatedly minded Lu Yan that there's no future in writing novels. Only studying honestly, signing up for school, and finding a good job are the right ways. But because Lu Yan studied well enough, Lu's mother could only close one eye. Because at the time, Lu Yan was sitting in front of the computer, taking a deep breath, looking at the rudimentary initial interface on the screen. This is the first demo of Tomorrow Is Not Coming. If nothing else, the final product is also completed under this frame in front of me. Even if you want to build a big flag, Lu Yan just has to stand here and say, even if I starve to death, I jumped from here, wrong, right, and talked. I'm not 100% sure what that means because of translation, but yeah. It should be said that the building of Tomorrow Is Not Coming has been initially completed, and only 2 small dark clouds are left. As we said, this is the work of what's his name? I think shoot, where is it? Glasgow, William Thomson, scientist William Thomson, on the 2 dark clouds of physics. I'll take a quick drink here. Then, Lu Yan only needs to do some repair work to put it on the market, and then lie down. Just making money is enough. No advertising, anything. Oh, these are the people. This is actually where I got it from. This is where I found the name. So thanks to these guys, I found the origin of the quote. Lu Yan moved the mouse and clicked the button to start the game. Because everything is simple. When Lu Yan was playing the game before, he was basically facing the broken body that was Saw. So even if it's facing the body of a stunning beauty, your left hand holding the ribs and pinching the liver with his right hand, he won't be charming. Yeah, this is probably some cultural reference. And now it is Lu Yan who's put together the body of the stunning beauty. Although it is too late for her to put on the Chinese dress, you can put on the dress and walk on the runway for the time being. So some type of beauty description. I'm not tired. I'm just like super calm and contented. So my reading pace is not as fast or as energetic as it usually is. I'm just very calm right now. So that's an explanation for my reading style at the moment. On the screen, with Lu Yan's mouse click, his vision instantly went dark. Then came the boiling blue and white snow slowly falling on the screen. A sturdy and simple, wide and thick track vehicle, walking on the snowy ground, although slow, but solid and powerful. Man, you get a lot of this Tai Chi vibes, right? Fighting hard with soft, not oxymoronic descriptions, but more like combining 2 opposites, Dao and like yin and yang. So the screen flipped, and in the tracked car, the old black-haired man was holding the steering wheel, and on his right was a girl with dark eyes. And if you know what's this is fine. If you know what this is a reference to, this is it. But this is the reason why I read this chapter, this section right here. Ah, it's beautiful. The desolate music sounded leisurely. The black sun hung in the distance, and the starry sky was dazzling. Because this falling snow does not need clouds. Dang, what an interesting picture. I'm reminded of Opus. Lu Yuan watched the little girl on the screen pressing the thick glass with her hands, watching the snow falling in the abundance outside. Then turned her head, looked at the man sitting in the driver's seat, and asked, "Dad, where are we going?" Ah. Let's go far away, the man said calmly, unable to hear any emotion in the words. And Lu Yan lowered his head, tears falling onto the keyboard drop by drop. Since coming to this world, Lu Yan has never shed tears, no matter how difficult the situation is. And this is the second time. The first time was when Sume was called that inexplicably harassing phone call. Lu Yan stretched out his hand and gently stroked the little girl's face on the screen. Although he can't use his own image for a man traveling with the girl, the little girl he uses is the dedicated model that belongs to Lu Yao. I will save you here at least once, Lu Yan said quietly. And it's that declaration that just makes this chapter so beautiful. So I don't know whether people consider it well written or not, but I'll leave this chapter off here, and this is probably gonna be a 30-minute video. It's only 15, good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that chapter. And we're gonna be skipping over some of the business chapters, which is 28 through 29. He explains to his investor and friend Zhao Junli about it. And they talk about like in the investment split, how the classic uh, you should split friends and money should not be combined. You should deal with them separately. Money is money and friends are friends. Some electric boogaloo stuff, and then yeah. And then yeah, so the next chapter will be chapter 31. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the main character's motivations, and then from there it goes on to some more family, and then whatever the author has in store.